Hi everybody, I see you're on. So here we are, whatever day, today is Tuesday. And so what we're doing today is we're going to talk about some foods and make lunch at the same time, a soup actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with cutting the onion. And so what I'm making is a barley and bean soup, and then we're going to do a little bit of things, we're going to do a little bit with things like rhubarb. So I'm just going to peel my onion here and get it in first. I'm trying a new thing today of being in this area of the kitchen with a hot plate instead of at my stove, because I can't really, it's really hard for me to cook things and for you to be able to see me, oops, I'm shaking the table, for you to be able to see me cooking at the same time. So a lot of my videos, you really just see what I'm cooking. So it's kind of hard to make it, like, I don't want to be far enough away that you can't see what I'm cooking, but people have been saying they like it better when I'm actually in the picture instead of just seeing, or in the video instead of just seeing my hands of what I'm cooking. So I'm trying to do both in my little amateur way, but I can see that as I'm cutting, it's shaking the table, which is shaking the camera. But you know what? Nothing is perfect, and we're just going to keep doing this until we get it half decent. I'm not one for perfection, that's for sure. Anybody that knows me, I'm kind of like, just get it done and it's good enough. I'm a good enough kind of person. So yeah, so onions in here. And we're sauteing them, and then that's the other thing. I get to play with my little hot plate here because I'm not really used to how it works. So we're gonna put it on max and then turn it down and see what happens. So that'll be a new experiment too. So hi Darlene, good morning. So we're gonna start with the onions, which is what I usually always do. I always start with the onions, and it just, sauteing them always brings such a good flavor. I'm going to try and do this carefully. So normally, as you know, I normally cut more than 2 carrots at a time, but I have to stand up to do that. So in order to save time, so that you guys aren't sitting there for 5 minutes watching me cut carrots, I am going to stand up for these and hopefully not shake the camera too much. So like we've said before, the thinner you cut them, the faster they'll cook, and we don't want them overcooked, but we don't want them too. I mean, it'd be nice if they were raw, but some people don't have the tough teeth to handle raw carrots. So we're just going to, I'm going really kind of slow here because I don't want to shake the camera too much. So yeah, so oh, there's a carrot on the floor for the dog. She really does like her veggies. Okay, so I'm gently going through the rest of these. Keeping an eye on the carrots to make sure you don't cut yourself, because right now is not a time to want to get injured. Although, things are looking up. We've had pretty good results with the lockdown, and so that's awesome. So I washed my carrots. I always, I can sit down now. I always wash my vegetables before I put them in the fridge. It's a big secret to 15-minute cooking. And most of my videos on YouTube, oh, it's too big. Most of my videos are nearly all 15-minute meals, because I just don't, didn't used to have the time for more than a 15-minute meal. And so, so they're mostly 15-minute meals, and I always find that putting the pan on high, anybody who's watched this before has heard me say it a million times, I put the pan on high with a little bit of water, and I have not put any oil in. And most of the time I don't use any oil. But in this case for today, I am going to add a little bit of coconut oil, but not yet. So I want this to steam. You can see that steaming. And so I'm adding the carrots, and I've got this on high, and then I'm adding celery. And I did, okay, I'm going to back up a bit to explain a few things. Okay, so your onions, way more important than what you think they are. They are anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and they're antihistamine, that's the word. And so, yeah, so onions are just really fantastic to use a lot. And if you are having allergies or any kind of histamine response, that's the yellow onions are the ones that make you cry, and it's actually will clear your sinuses. You know, if you don't have anything else, try a yellow onion. And yeah, so, and then the carrots, of course, have beta carotene. Everybody knows that. Good for your eyes. They've got potassium and antioxidants. And then the celery, I'll repeat this again too. For the celery, it's full of, well, it has potassium, but it's the most important thing about celery is the natural source of sodium that it has. And it's super good for arthritis. Like if you juice celery, it's like super awesome for arthritis and any kind of inflammatory conditions. Yeah, it's just really good for the joints and the bones. And you can also make a celery seed tea, which is quite pleasant. And you just make a tea out of celery seeds, and you can actually make it into a decoction rather than just pouring the hot water over the seeds. You could actually simmer it so that you're drawing out more of the medicine in the celery seed. So I'm going to have this boiling here. I did my beans in the Instant Pot. So these are black beans. You guys know black beans. I buy all different kinds of dried beans, and you can get them through Healthy Habits or any store really. And so the key to the beans again is to soak for at least 4 hours, and then rinse them, and then soak them, and then rinse them, and then if you can, soak them and rinse them again, every 4 hours, and then the next morning rinse, and then cook them. So in this case, I did put them in the Instant Pot, which was awesome because they're just little tiny black beans. So they're like 8 minutes in the Instant Pot. So that was cool. So, and then I did the barley. We talked about the red barley. It looks a little, I did it 2 days ago in the Instant Pot, and this is a red barley. And it has all the antioxidants, like the red. It's not actually red, I'm sorry, it's purple. It's called purple barley. And it has all of the antioxidants as red cabbage. That's where I got confused with the red. So it has the antioxidants, super high in all the B vitamins and vitamin C, and really because of the purple color, right? So we know the purple color gives that the antioxidant quality for keeping your immune system healthy, and plus the fiber and the protein and everything else. So I've got the barley here to add as well. I'm just going to let those carrots and onions and stuff cook down. I like to always add my garlic later on because I don't want it overcooked, even though it's super for flavor. I don't want it overcooked. And so just squishing my garlic here, and I found one Brussels sprout in my fridge, one. And so I'm going to throw him in. And he has all of the same properties, vitamins and minerals, as green cabbage. Vitamin K, vitamin C, and all that. And then the other thing I do with Brussels sprouts is I'll slice them like this, and I'll put them raw in the salad. And they're really nice because they're not as tough to chew as cabbage, although when I do my cabbage in the salad, I cut it up fine. But the Brussels sprouts add a really nice little delicate Brussels-y, cabbagey flavor. in a salad raw, which is really the best way to eat everything is raw. But you know, I have really good friends that are fantastic raw foodies, and honestly, to eat nothing but fruits and vegetables raw is like super awesome, but a lot of people don't have the digestive system to be able to process that. Like if you chewed up a carrot and it, I mean, how well do we chew up a carrot? Not very. We're like crunch, 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 swallow. And you're supposed to chew each bite 27 times. So we don't do that. I mean, I don't. You might. I don't. I know that, and I try it, but it doesn't happen very often. So if you're chewing your food and you're not breaking it down into a puree, basically, it's hard for some people to digest the raw vegetables like that. So a lot of my raw foodie friends do a lot of smoothies and that kind of thing, break it down so that it's actually absorbable, so it's not just chunks going through that you're not getting the vitamin and mineral content out of. And so, but otherwise, I mean, you know, raw fruits and vegetables are truly and really the best. I'm just looking there. Oh, hi. So what else was I going to say about raw food? Oh, yeah. So it's really good for you, but it depends on your in Ayurvedic medicine, there's like different personalities, which are called doshas. And I'm not going to confuse you with all of that, but I'm a cold, damp type. Like I'm always kind of cold and feel damp and congested a lot of the time, easily. And so it's hard for me to eat raw foods in the winter, especially when it's damp and cold outside. I don't want to be damp and cold inside. I want warm food. So I have been cooking a lot of root vegetables this winter, and especially, or this spring, I guess, and especially that we're not going out, right? So you can get 10 pounds of carrots and you know, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, Brussels sprouts, cabbages, all of those things that last a long time, all your root vegetables, beets too. So anyways, okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of red pepper too. I'm not gonna add a lot. So that's another thing is I think I'm like a squirrel because I never want to use the last bit of anything. And so I'll save the rest of that for later, just in case I need it, and then I don't have to go out. So I guess I came by that naturally because I tend to not finish anything, and I'm always keeping bits and pieces of food and other things around in case I need it later. Okay, so I just added a little bit of red pepper. I'm going to add the garlic here, and so it's going to be a super simple, you know, healthy soup. Oh, okay, here, kale. Beautiful kale from my garden, and there's a little collard here. So I am going to add these, but I want to add them kind of at the end because, and I just wrap them up so that they're easier to cut. I'm going to add them at the end because I don't want them overcooked. And actually, I'm going to turn this down now. You can see that okay, how do I do both these same time? I'm going to undo my kale and I'm going to show you. See, the carrots and the celery and everything are not very cooked. I mean, they're just tender crisp, and then I just added the garlic and the peppers because I want them to be, oh, my hair, I want them to be fresh and not overcooked. So now I'm going to have my kale here, and slice it up fairly fine. So kale has vitamin K also. Kale, everybody's heard about kale. Kale is the most nutrient dense, full of nutrition. That's what that means. It has so many vitamins, minerals, and nutrients in it. It's the most nutrient dense food or vegetable on the planet. Like, it's just super, 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 which is why everybody is talking about kale and kale smoothies and eating kale. But the thing with kale, oh, am I wiggling you again? Oh, sorry, I'm wiggling. Okay, so the thing with kale is that it's kind of like what I was talking about the carrots, is that when you chew it, it doesn't break down and absorb very well. So you really have to, turn this down some more, you really have to either, like this will be steamed, got some nice big pieces in here, or what some people do, there's a lot of recipes on massaging your kale. And so you add a little bit of salt and a little bit of olive oil or whatever, oil, and massage the kale, and it starts to pre-break down the kale so that you can get the nutrients from it. Because if you just chew on it like that, again, if you're going to chew it 27 times per mouthful, then you'll get what's in it. But if you're just going to, chew 2 or 3 times and swallow it whole, you're not going to get as much out of it. So it is helpful if it's broken down in some way, either steamed or massaged in an oil or whatever. There's a little tiny piece there. Okay, so I'm just going to dump in my beans, my black beans that I soaked, and the barley. And as you can see, actually, you know what I'm going to do? That's my cooked barley, cooked beans. What I'm going to do is leave this here to show you. Oh, I shouldn't have covered up the carrots, but you can kind of see carrots, onions, garlic, celery, beans, barley, and kale. Okay, and there's no water yet. Just that little inch of water at the very beginning when we started. So, because I don't want my greens and my delicate vitamin-rich foods overcooked. So now I'm going to add my water, and then that turns into the soup. So now that I've added my water, I'm going to turn the heat up again and add the seasonings, which is super basic, simple. Miso, which we talked about the other day. Miso is a fermented organic soybean, and because it's fermented, it's super, super good for you. And so it comes in a paste, and it's like, instead of what's miso, you guys are probably familiar with miso in a Japanese restaurant or whatever. It's like, instead of a veggie broth or a chicken broth or whatever, the miso's are. Hi, Angela. Hi, good morning. Hi, everybody. Kathy. So I just added the miso and bringing that up again. So with it's stuck to the spoon, so I'm gonna just leave it in there to melt a little bit. The other thing I'm gonna add is granulated garlic. Okay, and that's pretty liberal, so that was probably like 3 tablespoons. Whoops. I always love to add cayenne. Cayenne is an activator. It aids in circulation. So it's an up herb. So it actually comes up into the body, goes to the head, and then comes down through to the feet. So it's a circulatory herb. So it will help the whole circulatory system, but it starts by going up. And so that's why it's really good for headaches or migraines, because it opens up, pushes the blood and the oxygen up, and opens up the blood vessels if they're constricted from a migraine or a headache. And the ginger, that's the other one I'm looking for. Ginger is also circulatory, but it starts by going down, so that's why it's really good for nausea, because it pulls everything down for circulation, and then it goes up. So it also circulates the whole body, but it starts by pulling down, and that cayenne starts by pushing up. I love cayenne. It helps to get everything everywhere it needs to go, because it moves the blood. You do have to be careful with cayenne if you are on blood thinners or anything like that, or heart medication, because it will assist whatever's in there. It'll help it. So if you're on any kind of medication, it will help it to work. So if you're on something serious medication, then you need to be careful and probably not take it, or check with your pharmacist or doctor. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to add is which is always good. Turmeric, anti-inflammatory. Most of you guys know that. Anti-inflammatory, super good for you. And you always want to add black pepper with your turmeric because it activates it. To activate the turmeric. And oh yeah, the other thing that's going to make it, like, give it just sort of a more rich flavor is the that's cool, is the nutritional yeast. I got distracted. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna wait, and I'll answer the questions that are coming through now, and then if you want to post some on Facebook, then I'll answer them there too, when they're really long like that. So this is nutritional yeast, super good for you. And I've been listening to Dr. Michael Greger, and he says everybody needs nutritional yeast, at least a tablespoon every single day. It's got so many B vitamins and just, yeah, it's called nutritional for a reason. It's just awesome. And it gives a real cheesy flavor. So if you're wanting to make something taste cheesy and you don't want to use cheese, or you want to have it vegan, or you want it to just be dairy free, the nutritional yeast, you can make like a macaroni and cheese with it. You can make anything that you want cheese with, no dairy. The nutritional yeast is awesome. And not only that, very good for you. So we can see with my thing here, my new little cooker thing, it doesn't want to boil the soup, or I don't want to bring it to a boil anyway. I just want it to simmer, but I won't even bring it to a simmer with all this water in it. But that's okay, because I just want it to be warmed up anyway, and it's nice if the kale is just softened a bit so that it's broken down enough to absorb the goodness. Okay, so I just want to show you. I'm going to try and show you here. See? Without spilling it on everything. Probably see it better down here. Okay, so yeah, so that's the soup. That's the soup of the day. I'm going to give it another stir because it looks so pretty. And try and show you that again. Okay, now it looks really nice. Hi. Okay, so can you see the colors? So it's really nice too. It always makes you happy when your food is colorful, fresh, and vibrant looking. And so you can see that the carrots are, I can tip it this way a little bit. You can see the carrots are really fresh and not overdone. And the kale is like super fresh. And the garlic and the, all that stuff is just super yummy. So that's it for Daniel's lunch. That's what he's having. I mean, I am too, but that's the lunch. So, and by the way, that pea soup I made yesterday, it's gone. It's all gone. There was not a drop left. So, so it was obviously good. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to move this aside because I'm gonna make something else with you guys now that the soup is ready. Yeah, I can just set this here carefully and put this on here. So what we'll do, I might have to go and get some more water. Oh no, maybe not. I've probably got enough. I've got enough for what we're doing. Okay, so I'm just going to move my little cutting board over here, my other cutting board, to save us time, and move that knife there and these things here, and move the handle there. Okay, so I have rhubarb. I picked it the other day, and very sweet, from a neighbor, and mine's just not this big. We're slow here. Where we live. Hi. Hey. Hi, Rick. That's awesome. Did you see the soup? I have to show you the soup again. The soup turned out really, really good, and I know you like homemade soup. So that's carrots, onions, celery, black beans, purple barley, and kale, and just a little bit of collards. So anyway, back to the rhubarb. So we're really slow here. We're high up where we live than the rest of town, and so everything is 2 weeks behind. You wouldn't think so. I can go down to Save-On, which I can walk to, and everything's 2 weeks ahead. So my rhubarb is not this big. So all we're going to do for this rhubarb is, I'll tell you the recipe, but I can't make the whole thing in front of you because it would just take too long. So this is the rhubarb. I'm just cutting it up into little 1-inch chunks like that. My hands are clean. I started with everything was washed, just so you know, for the people that just came on. And so the rhubarb, what I'm going to do is make rhubarb crisp, kind of. And yeah, so it's going to take a little while for this to cook, but what I'm going to do is stew the rhubarb, and you guys all know that it's nothing magic. And you do know you can't eat the leaves, though. Leaves are toxic. It's so strange how some parts of some plants are toxic and some aren't, which reminds me, did I forget to bring it here? It reminds me, okay, I didn't bring it here, but I don't have to bring it here. I was going to bring it to show you guys. No, I didn't bring it. It must be downstairs. Anyways, okay, so speaking of toxic plants and plants that people don't like, guess what I learned? Always learning something new. And last week I had a big rant on the Japanese knotweed and all the benefits that it has medicinally, like awesome. And now I have found out that broom that everybody's trying to get rid of, and I get it, there's a lot of broom and we really don't need that much broom, so I'm okay with controlling broom. I'm not okay with controlling Japanese knotweed, but I'm okay with controlling broom. But did you know that the broom flowers made into a salve is good for gout? Like you put, so we're going to do that. We'll do that maybe next week. I've just gathered a bunch of flowers, and you just gently simmer them in a little bit of coconut oil, and then we'll add, there's a couple different ways of thickening it, or you can just have it in coconut oil or olive oil, and then put that, like you have to let it, let the medicinal properties come out, so it'll take probably at least 3 weeks, unless you heated it enough, but we can try it both ways. And you put it on the area with the gout, and apparently it works amazing. So I do have a couple friends with gout, so we're going to give that a try. So if you want to give it a try, if you know somebody has gout, get out there and get some broom flowers, because they're flying off the branches right now. And super easy to gather. I just sat there while we watched TV and picked them off and put them in a big pot. So broom flowers, so let's try that. I think it's a really awesome thing, and most plants do have medicinal qualities, and as we progress in this, you know, in these times, they're investigating more and more of the regular plants and the weeds, and actually finding out what the medicinal qualities are. So anyway, yeah, so broom flowers. Okay, back to this. We're just gonna, it's pretty easy, you know, you're just gonna simmer this rhubarb until it gets really, really mushy. And the only thing I'm going to do with it, I'm just going to, I didn't bring a dish, but pretend that this is my dish. This is like my apple pie dish. And so I'm just going to put the rhubarb in here, excuse me, and then I'm going to add, mix up a little bit of these oats. These are fresh oat groats from Wayne at Wayne's Grain and Milling. And so I'm just going to add oats and mix it with coconut sugar. For you guys, if you haven't worked with coconut sugar, it's got a really rich, rich flavor. Also, it has a lower glycemic index than regular sugar, so it's better for you. And then, of course, cinnamon. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, coconut oil. I knew I forgot something. So yeah, so I'm just gonna make a little thing together with the oats and the coconut sugar and the coconut oil. And so, yeah, so I've already been on here a little bit past what I'm usually on here for. So I won't do that in front of you. But basically it's going to be like a cup of oats, and to taste whatever your taste is for sweetness for the coconut sugar. And then just mix in a little bit of like crumble. You know, it's like a crumble. So you're mixing a little bit of coconut oil in for the, to make it crumbly. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top of the rhubarb in the little thing and stick it in the oven. And what I will do though, because I'm such a fan of chocolate, I am going to sprinkle a little bit of my homemade herbal chocolate on top, so that it'll be a rhubarb crumble chocolate. Rhubarb chocolate crumble. Anyway, that's awesome. Thanks for joining me, you guys. And I'm really glad to see you on here. And so we're going to answer everybody's other questions and do whatever it is that that you guys request on Facebook. So we'll see you tomorrow morning at 11. And I'm so funny. I know, I'm hilarious. So, but anyway, it's fun. And what else can we do? You know, well, we're supposed to be staying home still. So thank you for coming. I just stepped on the carrot that I dropped for the dog. Okay, see you guys tomorrow morning, and have a great day. And if for the people on YouTube that are, because I've got the, on YouTube and recording Facebook Live, you can go to my YouTube channel. There's about 150 videos on there, and it's usually really fast, easy, healthy meals. Okay, so check it out, and we'll see you tomorrow.